Today we talk about how to coexist in harmony with your creative director. A huge DOYO Live sponsorship announcement today on the DOYO Live Marketing Show, and church festivals. Hey everybody, Dennis Schiraldi, founder of DOYO Live Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference. Thanks for dropping by. It is Friday, and it's a 4th of July weekend. We're going to talk maybe a little bit about that as well. Favorite holiday for me, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. We are at Nova Coffee Company on the square in Warren, Ohio. This place is dope. If you've never been here, you got to check it out. This is the DOYO Live Marketing Show, and if you are dropping by, thank you so much wherever you're at in your day. Getting ready to celebrate here. We've got a little parade going on outside with the kids. A lot of stuff going on, and you're going to try and show that. Yeah, so we've got a very nice day going on here in downtown
celebrating
Warren.
the arts in downtown Warren.
Gotcha. So let's do this. Let's get it cracking, right? We're gonna talk a little bit about DOYO Live here throughout the day, but let's talk about how you can live in harmony as a creative director with the marketing person. You guys, first of all, are really crazy, like super OCD about high-res images on logos and things like that. Why?
Well, because you have to protect your brand. And one of the things is what's nice that, and what's good is that you have that relationship with your marketing director, your marketing coordinator, whatever it is, but you all have to be on the same page. You have the basic marketing strategy that comes from the business strategy, so we have to just get that story going visually and making sure everything looks good, because if you don't have that consistency with your logo, with your brand, then it's going to get lost a lot of times too. Or if people don't know exactly what kind of file type to send somebody, whether it's a JPEG, a PNG, a high-res vector, it gets confusing after a while.
It totally gets confusing, like between, hey Ralph, thanks for joining. By the way, Ralph Fajak's got a ticket to DOYO Live. Do you? Anyway, back to the, so what's it, like PNG and vector and all this stuff really confuses me. And then to add even more confusion to that, different social media platforms have different requirements for the different types of sizes as well, right?
Correct, and that's where it gets a little bit tricky too. So, and a lot of times there's a lot of things online that you can go to where you can find the exact dimensions, because sometimes it changes. For instance, you figure you have your cell phone, you have your laptop, you have your desktop, so you want to make sure that everything looks the same. But a lot of times too, that can get mixed up because of the different parameters as far as how big an image can be.
Okay.
It's kind of like sometimes when you're trying to fit a square peg in a round circle.
Nobody does that.
No.
Hey, by the way, Sean, Ralph, Sean Dent, thank you for dropping by today. It means everything in the world to me that you guys obviously dropped by. Melissa Nagy, do me a favor. Let us know how the volume is. We've got some music in the background. I want to make sure that you can hear us. If you can, just go ahead and hit the screen. Hit the thumbs up or the heart, whatever it is you want to show some love. We've got Mike Pontikos, who is the creative director for DOYO Live, Socket Knopic Design, a YSU professor, and going to actually be added to the speaker lineup here with Becky Bertuzzi, who also does some great design work for us. Jeff Herman, thanks for the note. Really appreciate it, brother. Madison, Michigan, and Market, check them out. Jeff's doing some great things with his new marketing agency. Melissa Nagy is also handling our social media marketing, and she has Melissa Nagy Design. So that's what we're about, is really trying to spread the love around to promote local businesses, promote marketing entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, come out to the businesses and whatnot. So thank you. All right, so we have the, we're talking digital, and obviously we're a digital conference, but print's still a huge element. I believe in print. Launched print publication not too long ago. So how does this impact, the high-resolution imagery, impact your traditional print advertising?
Well, what's nice about it is that, and what I've always done, because when I started the first iteration of Socket Knopic Design, which was Pontikos Design back in '96, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the difference between high-res because I'm all self-taught. So, but what I did know was like you had to have some kind of consistent message with anything. And I learned very quickly on the difference of low res, high res, where to get stock images, what not to use, or even going and shooting it yourself. And usually when you have a high res image, what's nice about that is that you can make that fit for whatever you want to do. If you're going to use it on the web, if you're going to use it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, however you're going to use that image. So you can downsample that to make it more low res, but hopefully if you do it right, it's going to still look good. Now what happens is a lot of times when you get a lower res, lower definition as far as the pixels in the image, then it can get kind of crappy looking when you want to use it for print. So a lot of times when you do that, it can mess things up. So when you're going from digital to print, when I always ask you, hey, I need high-res images. Yeah. Oh, okay. You know, and it gets a little bit tricky because then.
But you know, my answer to that is this is what I just want it done.
That's the answer. What?
I just want it done.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to get too far down in the weeds. Like I love Becky Bertuzzi. She's marketing director at BEC, B Squared Designs, graphic designs. She does great branding work, and so you know, you guys. She's very passionate about the Adobe Creative Suite as you are,
yep.
And you know, and I understand where she comes from, and we have to be careful because she's not here to defend herself with it. But you know, she really preaches the fact that you should have, as a marketing professional, be well-rounded and have that skill set, so you don't have to call your designer every time that you need something done. Yep. And I'm proficient. Oh, Becky just joined us, so we're talking.
Hey, Becky.
I am proficient with certain, you know, some of the basics, but I'm more on the creative side of the delivery mechanisms and coming up with the strategy. I don't want to get down in the weeds, and maybe that's a handicap as me as a marketer, but I'm not a designer. As a matter of fact, I'm really not creative at all. But like when I see it, I know it. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's
right, and that's what I do. But that's why I have talented people like you and Becky around that I can lean on in that conversation.
Right. Well, the thing is too is it's like educating, you know, and it's education, and that's what's good about the conference. Hey, it's about educating people, you know, and that's the whole thing, and that's what's good about the conference, where you're telling people, because there are a lot of people who might be coming to DOYO Live or even out there now who don't. Are confused about all these different mediums that we're using, all these different vehicles and platforms that we have to use. I have a client that I'm working with, and I was able to help teach his.
Some coffee.
Yeah,
by the way,
I get all choked up.
Do we have Happy Mike today or Angry Mike? I would like an Angry Mike rant sometime in this DOYO Live today.
Oh, it'll maybe it all depends. Maybe I have to get a different establishment because it's a nice place to, you know.
Yeah.
But I know, and I'm helping their marketing director in-house, who's not a designer or anything, to at least understand, because it makes my job easier, or any designer's job easier, when there's that basic understanding of what the different file formats are. Because then I don't have to do everything. You know, they could do some small stuff, and I can handle like the bigger, more reaching branding strategy for them.
Hey, Noah, thanks for joining. And sponsorship. Shout out, Andrea DiPaolo from Valley Digital Services, dropping by. Thank you so much, and thank you for being a sponsor of DOYO Live. Check out Valley Digital Services. So, Mike, talk to me, take me through some of the creative process from a branding perspective. I mean, we're sitting in a Nova Coffee Shop live in Warren, Ohio today. They got a beautiful, clean brand. It's just very elegant, and it's just simple, and it speaks a lot to it. Talk to me about the process of when somebody comes to you and says, you know, I need to brand my business, I need a logo, I need a website, you know, I want to be on Facebook. And it's like, slow your roll. Let's start. Where do you start the conversation with somebody when they want to have that with you?
Usually when they start with me and they say, hey, yeah, we want to hire you, we like what you're doing. I always go through the company and basically do a communication audit. So I'll look at what they've done in the past, what they've done, what they're doing now. You know, how are they getting their story out to people? Because a lot of times they might have a great story to tell, but then it gets just lost because they don't know how to tell it visually, you know, and that's the hardest part. It's like you can have all these great ideas and you can have a great product, but if you don't tell the right story, or you might be telling the wrong story and people aren't seeing it or hearing it, or maybe misunderstanding what is being said. So I usually go through, spend about a month doing a whole audit, you know, what they've done in the past, and try and get my head around what they're doing before we develop anything. Because a lot of people think, well, I just need a new logo. well, that doesn't really work. I mean, what is that logo? Or they try and put everything into the logo.
Yeah.
Or this, that, and the other, and we need to show that. Well, is it going to look, real good as a favicon, when it's down to 16 pixels by 16 pixels, in the top of a tab of a...
This is like 16 bars, man. We're like getting like heavy.
Yeah, get heavy.
16 bars is a rap reference, by the way.
I'm a Disney. I listen to music.
I listen. Hip Hop Fridays are on the DOYO Live show, without a doubt. The DOYO Live crew. I'm thinking about forming that. Could we brand that? Could we put a logo on that? And then, hey, listen. Let's talk. Let's put you on the spot here. So, good branding, great branding is memorable. It's marketing.
Right.
Who or what inspired you in that direction that you've seen over the past 45 years that has, stuck out at you? Top 2, top 3.
Definitely Nike.
Okay, pause there. Nike. Let's break it down. So what about it?
Well, it was what they were trying to do is encompassing. You figure you have the swoosh, the Nike swoosh. The goddess of victory, and what you're trying to do. So he had that story. He was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I feel that we need to do, and just making just a simple track shoe. Is what to start off with. And then how that led to everything else, and what
it's such
we've seen today.
Okay, so it's such a great point that you bring it up, because people, I think, struggle over naming conventions of their business, right? And when you think about it, like Nike, Apple, Google, those names are like very simple. I mean, yeah, there's some deep meaning behind them, but at the end of the day, like, if in 2017, if you launched a company and you called it Apple, people are like, you're an idiot. Like, why are you calling your company Apple? Yeah. But after, obviously, the brand has been around, it's well recognized. Now we're like, yeah, well, Apple, it's super intelligent, it's super smart, like we all get it. But back in 1980, people didn't get it, right? No. So like,
when they got in trouble though.
Sure. So who else is it? Well, Nike. Any commercials that you can reference that you think about over the years besides just the logo and the design?
It would have to be their Just Do It campaign, how they did certain things, but they also try and get people involved. And how they get people off their seats and getting there. And really, I always talk about this in my class, is what really kicked off the whole, idea of what we think of as a Super Bowl ad was, of course, Apple's 1984 ad, which was produced by Ridley Scott, which cost $1 million back in 1984, and it was only shown once. Just one time.
The hair blowing.
It's just, and then you have other commercials where it's like they try to put so much production value into it. Now, what I love about Nike, or what I love about Apple, what they do is, you don't have to know that it's an Apple commercial. You might see something and automatically you already know that it's an Apple commercial. Some other companies might try and steal from it and try and emulate that.
Yeah.
But they're not pushing the product down your throat. They're wanting you to emulate a lifestyle. And that's the difference. They're not selling their product.
The most amazing thing about both of those brands and the way that they approach it is that they don't sell you product, they sell you an experience through the lens of using the product in 30 seconds, and it's amazing. Nike is able to show just somebody running down the street, an empty street, lit the right way, and you can relate to that. And anybody that's ever been a runner goes out in the morning, it's quiet, there's nobody around, you got to put your work in. And they capture that moment, and they understand that. Apple does a fantastic job with the kid at the holidays, at Christmas, and all the parents are like, why is he on that phone the whole time? And the next thing you know, you're crying at the end of that.
Yeah, I did. I was like, and then you watch the extended version when you're like,
Yeah. So for me, with Nike, it's Morris Blackman, Spike Lee. Absolutely, 1,000%, because I'm such a basketball fan. That pulled me in. I'm a big Spike Lee fan, and Spike Lee wasn't always obviously Spike Lee either. Like, that was a big coming out party for him as well, partnering with Michael Jordan in those commercials. Yeah. Obviously, the Apple commercials and the Ridley Scott one is iconic in its own right.
I'll tell you, one of my other favorite ones too is the Volkswagen Darth Vader commercial, because of what they did. Yeah, that's a great commercial, and how it just captured everything in that whole 30 seconds.
Jay, thanks for joining Megan Augustine. She's a breakout session leader at DOYO Live, talking about branding. A 25-year-old business that's in IT, and turning it on its head to make it a more modern look and feel, and not just a brand, but a branding exercise, but then how that transitioned into business. Jay Jackson. We're gonna have a break dance off at DOYO.
Anyway,
but she's on our committee, and
Yes,
she's
she
awesome,
is.
and we appreciate everything that she does.
Well, and that's all right. Speaking of committee, and that's what you want to do too. Is like when you first approached me last year, I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. But anyway, you know, it's the team that you build around you, and having that same vision and what you want to do, and eat, sleep, breathing, you know, what it is that you want people to get out of it. And that's a key factor too, is building a great team of whether it's designers, whether it's, you know, professionals, whether it's, you know, professors, or however it is, or even the community that you partner with, or even have your conference and what you're doing with, and how that fits into the whole thing too, because you want to make sure you don't exclude anybody. It's the same thing when you're branding something. You don't really want to exclude anybody. You know who your target audience is, but you still want people to catch that one moment where if they're in transition of a brand that they're not feeling good with, that they're going to jump.
Yeah. So we're talking billion-dollar brands. Let's talk about some local brands and put you on the hot seat there. Who's crushing it locally? Not long pause.
No, there's a lot. It's so. I mean, it's so. There's so many.
And I think that locally, a lot of local companies are absolutely crushing it from a social media perspective.
Oh, absolutely.
So yesterday I came across at Poland. And we're gonna. There's a couple segues here. So I came.
Well, you've got One Hot Cookie. You've got Bergen Real Estate. You've got what you're doing, DOYO Live. You've got so many different companies that are in so many different industries that it's so hard to pick. You know,
and I think that they're doing it. I think where I was going with that is I think that they're crushing it on social media.
Absolutely.
Mostly. Like, I was with Alan Donatelli from Don Vito's, which is a restaurant in Struthers, Ohio. He was setting up for the celebration of Poland. Starts today and tomorrow. They'll do their fireworks tomorrow night. We live in Poland, Ohio, and I met Alan in the parking lot. He's setting up, nobody around. It actually we should have took a few pictures. And Alan and I have this context because I follow him on Instagram, and I let him know, like, I'm a huge barbecue fan, and you know, he's doing a fantastic job. He's like, I'm just a chef trying to put my brand out there. Another guy that I think is crushing it on Instagram is Ross over at the Kitchen Post. He does a great job. Matt Campbell at Branch Street, another guy that I think does a really good job from a social media perspective. He's been very meticulous about the way that he's built his following on Instagram, to basically want not broad-based hashtags that, you know, you could hashtag coffee roasters all day long and get 1,000 likes, but it's very meticulous in the sense that he's trying to grow the community here in Youngstown, Ohio.
Right.
I think that there could be a bigger draw than that for him because he's able to ship his coffee. But that, but I think he's doing a great job with it.
And those are the things that you want to do. It's like you want to make sure that you're putting all that into who you are as your brand. You know, and especially you figure too when it comes to when you come to brands or even, let's say, tastes. Right? You got all these great coffee shops around here. You've got great restaurants who, you know, it's going to be a preferential taste as far as what people are going to see. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing, when you're trying to promote that, you want to grab that essence, you know, and what they're going to be and how they're going to be, you know, and what are you going to name them? Like you were saying, it's like Nova Coffee. I mean, Logan, the guy, you know, one of the owners here, was telling me the whole story about New Beginning and where they got the name from. It was an awesome story that he was telling you. You know, 4010.
Did I ever tell you how we hatched the name DOYO? Seriously.
Here it comes.
No, seriously.
No, this is, yeah. Go right ahead.
No, so what year is this? 2017?
In DOYO years, it's, you know, 2015.
My God. So this is the second year for the conference, but it feels like year 15.
Yeah.
So in 2006, 7, we were living in Columbus, Ohio. Actually posted on my Facebook page yesterday a video that I dropped when I was marketing a healthcare service provider. Logan.
What's going on?
Thanks for doing a drive-by, brother.
Yeah.
And thanks for giving us a spot
No problem.
in your coffee shop.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is a great spot. The coffee's amazing. We're talking about your logo and your design of your spot. It's special, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Especially maybe for this area. Like, that's one of the things that we wanted to work on, is just having a logo that was simple but stood out for what we did. So So we put it on our wall.
It's very cool. You got to get out here to Warren, Ohio, check it out. It's a great spot. There's a lot of cool things going on here. We appreciate you giving us a home.
Anything coming up? Anything special coming up?
We're having a ribbon cutting in July in a couple of weeks, so we'll be down here. And then we launch a new sandwich starting next week, and we're doing donut sliders. Cut a donut in half, eggs, bacon, and a pesto cream cheese. Got yourself a breakfast. You're good to go.
I think we're going to have to come here and do another one and
Yeah,
taste
we'll be
test.
back, right?
Yes, taste
live
testing.
test, definitely.
We'll
Live
definitely
taste
be back.
testing.
Yeah.
Thanks for dropping by,
No problem.
and thanks for giving us a home again. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Brandon's a great guy. Thank you for the spot today. But so back in 2007, sitting in my kitchen in Columbus, Ohio, I actually posted yesterday a YouTube video that we made that's up to 58,000 views that hasn't been marketed in probably 7 years. And that video was about what I posted was like people in 2007 thought I was insane for marketing a medical imaging facility service provider through digital marketing.
Yeah, it was.
Because it knows, like, now jump ahead to 2017, similar to Apple, like you're like, oh yeah, everything should be named Apple. Like, you know, you're like, oh, what's the big deal? You know, you put a video on YouTube about a medical imaging facility. In 2007, the daggers came out and people were like, you cannot market your business on Facebook. College kids are posting themselves at cake parties. And then in 2017, it doesn't seem such like a crazy idea. So
No.
when I talk about Facebook Live,
Now it's those kids who are adults are posting pictures of those cake parties.
right?
Yeah.
And they're really, and you know, at the end of the day, it's like when I say Facebook Live will be reality TV within 24 months, and people look at me and they roll their eyes, it's coming.
I'll tell you what, I saw the
But-
video, and that was the calmest I've ever seen Dennis in a video.
Yeah, that was before. It was before like my squirrel sweat.
Yeah, see, that's
so,
why we get along.
So DOYO Live, I'm sitting in the kitchen of my house in Columbus, Ohio, and my nephew was going to grad school at the time, and we were hashing this plan, like he was gonna move back, and then we eventually were gonna move back, and took a few years longer. But he's like, he's like, when we go back, he's like, we should launch this, we should do something called like Do Youngstown or DOYO. Is it DOYO? Is it DOYO? And we even struggled with the naming convention. And then we were like joking around. We were having a beer. He was of age. He was in grad school. And we're having a beer. And he's like, I think there's this thing like, I think there's something to this thing like DOYO, right? So that stuck around in the old medulla oblongata for like 8 years.
Surprising.
I know.
That's good.
People maybe see the personality and think like it's a very quick decision. No, it's very methodical, and it was thought out for like a very long time. But that's how we ended up trademarking the name DOYO. So anyway, we got 10 people on the line, and I want to make a huge sponsorship announcement. I'm totally stoked about this.
Let's hear it.
And right after we do this Facebook Live, we're actually going to drop the video. So I'm super pumped. Brandon, thanks for dropping by. Brandon's a breakout session leader at DOYO Live. Kristen, thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it. Huge sponsorship announcement right here first on the DOYO Live Marketing Show. We have, from Cleveland, Ohio, Purple Films. That's a really big deal. If you don't know Purple Films is going to be included as a sponsor for DOYO Live. We just recently worked with them on a video that we're going to drop right after this show about DOYO Live, kind of a promo video. I'm so appreciative of the fact that they are involved in the conference. I know Megan Augustine has worked with them in the past. They work with a ton of huge brands. So we're going to get their logo up. They're going to have a presence at the conference in the Interactive Lounge. We'll have some of their videos playing. For those of you that do not know Purple Films, how big this is, like through the lens of those cameras, they have done things with Nike, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving.
So they're a big deal.
And I'm going to go third person on you. Dennis Schiraldi.
That's some.
Right? So now, like, when they're like, you think like when they're talking and they're like selling a client on their video services,
Yours isn't going to be.
they're like this.
Right.
Look, we've worked with Nike, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving,
And Dennis Schroll.
I don't give a crap. I'm stoked. Like, I mean, to have an organization of that caliber and quality,
that's awesome.
And they
That's
have
awesome.
local talent as well. So how this all came together is that a guy that was in my classes at Youngstown State University, Anthony Marchionda, who basically hustled his way through college making videos and grew. Like, you know, like he started out as the garage rock band, and you know, like, and then all of a sudden, like it just blossomed, and he got very good at it. He's got the eye, he's got the passion, he's putting out content. People were engaging him for his services, and then he went to intern at Purple Films for a semester. And before he graduated, they offered him a full-time opportunity. So they've got local talent. And here's the other cool thing that I think about it. You know, we have people from Columbus coming in and see the value in DOYO Live, and they're signing up as speakers, as sponsors. We have Purple Films from Cleveland. So we have people from outside of Youngstown, Ohio, engaged in the brand and recognizing what we have here. And anytime that you can get validated in that sense to where organizations like that work at such a high level recognize the value, you know, and I'm not bragging about that, but you know, it makes us feel, you know, you've been intimately involved in this for, you know, over a year now. It makes us feel good. Like,
well, and that's the thing too. It's like you want to showcase, you know, that's like with anything where they have any type of conference where people come back more and more. It's like all of a sudden, a lot of times too, you have to go outside of that area to bring people from those larger metropolitan cities to come into it and say, hey, you know, you're selling the content, but we've got this great venue too that you can come and get all this stuff too. You can get about, you know, design, whether it's interactive, whether it's print, whether it's branding, whether it's, you know, digital marketing, however you want to do it, public relations, you know, and you're coming into this nice little hub of, you know, information here in Youngstown, Ohio. Here, what I like to say too is the Mahoning Valley, where it's like, you know, we've got a lot to offer here for these companies to come down. It's like, oh wow, and it's not that far. You know, people coming from, you know, within a 2.5 hour drive, you're capturing a lot of people.
Look at me, I drove all the way to Warren today.
And he still almost got lost. But anyway.
All right, so no angry Mike rants say about marketing in general. Just don't want to go public with it.
It's Friday, it's the holiday weekend. Maybe, you know,
right,
we'll get closer. I will throw a rant.
So here's the deal. So the absolute most fantastic favorite holiday of mine, and I will do a 4th of July live show, is the 4th of July.
Yep.
And the reason why the 4th of July is my absolute favorite holiday of anything. I'm Italian Catholic, right? So we know how big Christmas is in my family, how big Easter is. My Nana's probably going to smack me around when I get home. But I give this speech every year at the 4th of July and let people know that. I'm passionate about it because, number one, it's America, it's an American holiday, and it's patriotic. And I make no apologies about that. If you can't get behind the 4th of July, and you obviously live here in the United States, I make no apologies about it. I'm extremely patriotic for all the people that have made this country great again. Have made it great, right?
Yeah, we all make it great. So it doesn't take one person.
And it really is. Like, so I love that. I love the fact that it's non-denominational. Right. So there's no like, hey, it's non-denominational. Like, so it doesn't matter. Like, what your religion is, it doesn't matter. It's the religion of the United States.
It doesn't make a difference who you are.
The third thing is that you don't have to buy anybody presents. Like, isn't that awesome? Like, I'm not out of
but you just spend enough when you go like buy fireworks.
Okay, so that's a nice transition, I think, because the celebration of Poland is happening over the next 2 days. It kind of Poland's not really doesn't use it as a church festival, but we have a ton of church festivals in Youngstown, Ohio, and it just starts in July and it goes all summer long, and each of them are unique and awesome, and we'll. I grew up going to the Lowville Festival, which is actually the Mount Carmel Society Festival for our church. And there's not one kid in Lowville that doesn't have the memory of getting singed by the baby doll dance. It's a really unique tradition. If you've never seen it, you got to check it out. But Mike, you're on a committee.
Yes.
For a church festival.
That's right.
And there's a very
it's a pretty big
seminal number this year on that festival. Go ahead and talk about that.
This year marks the 50th anniversary of the St. Demetrius Greek Orthodox Church in Warren, their Greek festival, which a lot of people call it Warren Greek Fest and whatnot, because it's just, everybody, oh yeah, we're going to the Greek Fest. I have a neighbor who moved back from Florida, and I was talking about it, and he's like, oh my God, we used to go there all the time when I was a kid.
People just generations.
It's just, it's one of the it is the largest Greek festival in the state of Ohio. We've got Rise, it's 4 days, it's the 19th, July 19th to the 23rd. I mean,
Pause there for 1 second. Beth Hawks, thanks for dropping by. She's going to be giving a breakout session at DOYO Live on content marketing strategies with HubSpot, inbound marketing intertwined in that, what B2B businesses need to be considering to be relevant. And Dr. Mike Sevilla and Sean Dent are teaming up for a talk at DOYO Live. Both of these gentlemen have developed their healthcare brand, speak all over the country, are local. Sean is actually a nurse in Erie, Pennsylvania. They are going to be giving a talk on healthcare. So there's some healthcare dedicated talks at DOYO Live. In any case, 50 years, generations. Like, do you guys have, like we haven't, in Louisville, we haven't had a class reunion ever because we all just kind of come back for the festival. Do you see a lot of the...
Absolutely. That was a good point, because you figure right now it's basically festival season in this part of Ohio, in a lot of parts, because with all the different, ethnicities that we have, and how everybody wants to celebrate their ethnicity or with their church or anything, just, it says a lot about it. And a lot of times too, with our festival, it's our largest fundraiser for the church. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, where they say, it takes a village, it literally takes, a lot more than that to run the festival. Let me tell you, there's a lot of long hours that go into it. And this year we're going to have fireworks.
So Beth Hawks says, yay, happy fun. Becky Bertuzzi, 2 words, Greek donuts. What am I missing?
Gyro, not gyro, it's gyro, souvlaki.
All right. Right now, if you're watching this show, in the comments right below my finger, what is your favorite Greek food? Gotta hear it. What's yours?
Pasticcio.
What's pasticcio?
It's the Greek version of lasagna.
Okay. I like lamb.
Then they have lamb shakes. We're gonna have these huge, pound and a half lamb shakes there. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
I'm a huge fan of anything with lamb.
Well, maybe he'll come out to the Greek Fest and we'll do DOYO Live from there.
We've got several young kids that would probably love to embark upon that opportunity. We were with Mike Pontikos of Socket Napa Design, Youngstown State University professor, creative director of DOYO Live, and festival connoisseur committee member for
St. Demetrius Greek Orthodox Church in Warren, July 19th to the 23rd. Go to warrengreekfest.com to get more information.
I'm going to give a shout out to my homie that just joined, Backside 360 specialist Justin Boros, Jay Diddy. Thank you so much for dropping by, brother. It's been a while. Jay is just crushing it right now, and he's a monster. He's like 6'6", like 340, and he actually puts up with my jokes. I know. But he also has
a good man.
He has an amazing dance troupe that is touring the country, and I've watched the progression of Rhythm of the Night start from just, a one-show performance. And basically now he goes on spring and fall tours, 20 shows at a time during these time periods, and leverages content and the digital landscape beautifully to help to expand his brand. And it's really become a huge thing. The way that it actually started is very interesting. The tryouts that people utilized were utilizing YouTube. So, and then he would actually syndicate the dance and coordinate the dance through YouTube, and people would, to eliminate cost of having everybody have to be at the same place at the same time, and they would have to learn the Irish dance routine by watching the YouTube video, and then when they finally got together to do the performance, they were already a step ahead of the game. So it's pretty amazing. Thanks, Jay Diddy. Thanks for dropping by. Really appreciate it.
That's tough to do too. You figure how a lot of times, even going through and sending emails back and forth about, how does this look, how did that look for a simple layout, and they're developing choreography. That's amazing.
It is amazing. So back to the Greek festival. We've got all kinds of, obviously, Greek food.
There's going to be rides.
We've got
There's going to be games. Yeah, we got all like the different rides, and oh yeah.
And gambling?
Nope, no gambling.
Okay. You're not an Italian festival.
No gambling. Great food though, so it's
That is awesome. And how long have you been on this committee?
This is the first year that I'm actually on the committee, but I've been working there for the last 10 years. It seems like. Yeah.
How you guys getting the word out?
Social media right now.
Really?
Yeah, we developed a website this year.
Okay.
Actually, the first year. So warrengreekfest.com. Like I said, we're going to start trickling more and more information on there because we're only a little bit less than a month away So then we have Facebook. So we're sticking to those two platforms right now. And
Traditional ad buy?
we do have some traditional ad buys. Actually
Billboard?
billboards, we have the digital billboards.
I saw that the other day.
How did it look?
It looked good.
Yeah, because I designed it.
No, it kind of put me on the spot there without knowing it.
Where on?
I can't remember where I saw it, but the only reason why
But at least you saw it. That's
the
what matters.
reason why it was relevant to me is because of the fact that I know you.
Right. And this is a big thing too, though. It's a big thing. It's just, I think it's with any festival, and not, of course, we go to a lot of the ones, locally here in Warren or down in Youngstown. You've got Festival of the Arts downtown Youngstown.
That's coming up
next weekend. I'm sorry. So there's a lot of things down there. St. Nick's Greek Orthodox Church is having their festival at the same time. So there's a lot of things and a lot of stuff to do that you can, you don't have to worry about going out to a restaurant. It's all local. It's like, you want to give back a lot of times too, and you visit these other festivals because it becomes like a tradition. And that's the thing too, even with the brand, you want to have that tradition where people keep coming back to you for whatever service, whatever product that you have. And that's what's nice about it, when you see people getting together who haven't seen each other for 5-10 years at the festival, whether it's Louisville, whether it's St. Dee's.
So support local. That's what we're about. 80% of our speakers are from Youngstown, Ohio. They are small business owners. They are marketing agencies. They are brands. We have a ton of local businesses that are speaking, sponsoring the conference on August 3rd. DOYO Live. Get your tickets. Use the promo code DOYO 2017. That's DOYO 2017. You'll save 20% on tickets. Last year's event sold out. FOMO, man. Don't miss out. Fear of missing out. Right now we're 50% ahead on ticket sales of where we were last year. You're going to come and get access to one dynamic keynote, 15 plus breakout sessions, endless networking opportunities, share. And I had a conversation with an individual for an afternoon keynote that I'm just going to tease right now, but that's going to happen, and we're going to announce that. Purple Films, thanks so much for being a sponsor of DOYO Live, and the rest of our sponsors, thank you so much. We love all of you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Nova Coffee Company.
Nova Coffee Company. But we're not done yet. We got rapid fire questions with Mike Pontikos. We didn't do this the last time.
Here we go.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
What's on your home screen?
Mountains.
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 On my home screen, on my computer, or on my phone?
On your phone?
It's
Why do you carry such a small phone?
because it fits in my pocket. That's why.
But if you took that big case off,
It's not a big case.
Did I tell you what I did with my phone last weekend? I dropped it in the toilet. And there was that momentary lapse of when it plunked, and I was like trying to process, like my phone's actually in the toilet. The good news is this, you didn't ask the question. I went in and fished it out.
Was it?
No, it wasn't.
Pre?
It was pre.
Oh,
It was pre.
okay, so
and
that's-
it worked for like a day. So I was like, oh man, I'm in the clear. But I'm not in the clear. It totally crushed my phone, and I'm back on another phone now. All right. Do you have a phone on your desk? When it's not your iPhone.
No.
You don't have a phone on your desk.
Well, at work, yes. At what? Shoot, I don't have one.
One book you recommend that everybody reads. The Art of Branding and Design.
No, The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
You know, I have heard so many people read this book, and I've never touched it. I've looked at it, but I've never touched it.
Actually, yeah, I'm actually
You know what?
adapting it for something right now. Possible.
You know what I
down
do?
the road. Yeah.
Instead of reading The Art of War, I just watch The Godfather. It's like
Yeah, there's a lot in there too.
it's just like that Machiavellian,
Yeah.
complete,
Michael.
keep your friends.
It wasn't personal.
Right.
It's just business.
You keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Abe Vigoda just died this year too.
So Abe Vigoda would eat on 77th and 2nd every day at a little bagel shop on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. My office was about literally 2 doors up from that bagel shop, and I would stop in every day, and I would see Abe Vigoda, and I was fearful. Absolutely fearful. I met so many people in New York City when I lived there, celebrity-wise. I never actually talked to many of them because it's kind of like the New York credo is like, you just like, they're in the neighborhood, they're part of the environment, you leave them alone, and if they, so you respect that. But I always wanted to go, hey Lenny, for old time's sake, because that, You know, he's like, he goes to Tom, who's the adopted Irish son in the Godfather family. He's the concierge. And he's like, hey, Tom, for old time's sake, you know. Then they whack Lenny, but never talked to Abe Rigoda. I feel bad. And he was on Barney Miller as well.
Barney Miller.
As
He
Fish.
had his own show called Fish, which didn't last too long. And then, of course, you know, everybody always thought he was dead, but then he'd pop up somewhere. So
Unlike the Adam Sandler movies.
yeah. Snickers commercials.
All right, ready?
All right. Okay. Back to
New York, Chicago, or San Francisco?
New York.
Print or digital?
Digital.
Print or digital?
Print. And digital.
I'm cool with that. People like, I know I'm a digital marketing conference, but I'm not.
I'm sorry, but you see, everybody thinks, oh, print because of you know, commercial or, you know, advertisements. But go into a grocery store. What's the packaging? It's printed, right? You don't buy a virtual donut. So print.
All right, you got a favorite magazine?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Oh, well, yes. What is it? Actually, there's a couple.
Sorry,
of them.
I didn't even know that I had to be so leading with my questions.
Sorry. Of course, Adweek. But there's another one out there that I've been trying to get this, and I've been kind of bringing this into my classrooms. It's about social entrepreneurship and social conscious type companies. And there's a magazine called Conscious Company. Good stuff.
There's an amazing documentary on Netflix. By the way, Do Your Lives Purpose Driven, right? So we basically did a guest bartending night at Birdfish Brewery, got them some awareness, helped them create some business that night, and we took the tips that night from the guest bartending night, and we donated those back to the Rich Center for Autism. It was almost close to $2,000 in 2 hours.
Yeah, see, that's awesome.
So, you know, we're obviously not Tom's shoes, but there's an interesting Netflix. By the way, there's an interesting Netflix documentary on the dark side, though, of the socially conscious business that creates this environment where they're just dropping off loads and loads of clothes in third world countries that basically don't need them at this point. And
Yeah.
so they have to be careful.
Well, actually, the MLB and I think NFL, NBA, you know how before, like, okay, unfortunately, this past season, like, all the jerseys and T-shirts and hats that they print up for, unfortunately, the losing teams. Well, before that, they would donate those to, again, third world countries. Well, a lot of them now, like the MLB stopped that. They actually destroy all of the losing teams' merchandise because they feel that all it does is fills landfills and it just dilutes the brand of what's going on with that.
Dude, I would totally wear a Cleveland Browns won the championship in 2014. At least you'd have something to root for. Think about it, even if you lost.
Yeah.
Put it on a T-shirt. All right, music, rap, rock, or country.
Man, that's a tough one.
Really?
See, I like old school rap. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Africa Bambaataa, KRS-One, all those, you know, Beastie Boys, Run DMC. It was 35 years ago this summer when I first heard Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five's The Message, which still resonates to this day. Look it up. It's a great song.
It's amazing. Another Netflix documentary on that whole scenario of hip-hop in New York City. All right. I don't know if that was an answer. Do you like all of them?
I do.
Would you rather have a dog's tail or a gift of flight? That's so. As the Greeks in the philosophy go, this is why he's pondering. Look, the hamster's running.
Would I rather have a dog's tail
Or a gift of flight.
or the gift of flight?
Like you could walk out of here like Superman right now.
Well, okay, being Greek, I'll have to go with flight. Mr. Icarus, although he got a little too close to the sun and then everything.
Don't get too close to the sun or the water.
No. Well, water, at least if your wings fall off.
Is that? But that whole thing is like an analogy for everything in moderation, right?
something like that?
So I like the idea of giving humans a dog's tail.
Why?
Because it would be amazing to see when people are in a pissed off mood or they're happy. Like when I come and see you.
Oh,
and
but then no, because then people are gonna be going up and smelling each
but
other's
if
butts.
if I walk up on
Hey,
you and
how
your
are
tail's
you?
like this, I'm like, boy, you really like me, and I don't have to. I could cut through all the mess of whether or not you like me or not and trying to figure that out.
You know we're going on a whole tangent now.
We're digressing. That's all right.
That's okay.
It's our show. We can do whatever we want.
It's Friday.
Yeah. Like last year when people were like, they gave their post-evaluation surveys of DOYO Live, 98% approval rating. 50 or 100 people out of 200 took the survey. About a dozen of them said that my opening monologue was way too long. Yes, it was.
It was.
But I planned DOYO Live for 3 years. If I wanted to talk for an hour, I was going to talk for an hour. This year it will be, mark my words, 5 to 7 minutes. Absolutely. I will drop it. I'll put it down right now. 5 to 7 minutes, I'm out.
Anybody taking odds on that?
You know, people talk, we listen. All right, ready?
Okay.
Mad Men or Entourage?
Mad Men.
Mad Men's the worst.
How is it the worst?
Oh, God. It's so bad.
How?
Sorry, I want to get a little controversial. I want to get a little bit of
How is
angry
it
Mike.
bad?
Mad Men?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, like, I tried to watch it. What can I say about it that I liked? Besides nothing.
Season 1,
It's
last episode,
Okay.
the carousel. I show that to my students whenever we go into competitions because it shows how you bring emotion into a pitch when you're pitching to a company. And I still use that because it is amazing what Don Draper does in that. So, plus you have to watch like all the
Megan
other
Augustine agrees with me. She says Entourage.
you know.
So the reason why Mad Men doesn't work for me is because I can't stand.
Probably can't sit for an hour.
I can't stand suspense.
Oh.
It makes me crazy. So like the storyline takes forever to develop,
Yeah, but that's what's so good about it.
and like I just don't like waiting to find out what the answer to the test is. Like I really am just like, okay, I'm over it. The second thing that is difficult for me to relate to is the period piece. Like I dig the fashion, but I should appreciate it maybe a little bit more. Because obviously the premise is that it's the start of the super agencies, right? The David Ogilvies who wrote the book, the Leo Burnett's.
Well, and the thing with that too is it's also showing, which people don't get to, is how society is changing too. Because we're coming out of the war. It started like early '60s. You know, we had all this. You know, society was flourishing with manufacturing, and we were selling. But it also shows the whole transition of going from mass selling and just throwing out there for everybody, but how towards the end of the show, how it's becoming more segmented and targeted, not just in society, but also with how you get your product out there.
I struggled with, and you know what? Again, I mean, they did a very good job capturing the time span. It's like, but the way that the females were portrayed in Mad Men,
That time.
but it was that time.
That time period.
But
I found them.
I was like really uncomfortable with it. You know, like I'm like that sucked. Like that.
But here's the thing: how
That's-
was she gonna get?
But I understand they have to tell that story accurately.
Right. I found an old YSU yearbook at Williamson, the Key, and it actually had, it was like from 1961 or 62, a secretary's club.
Like we've come a
The
long way.
YSU secretary's club.
Let's not put the tooth. You know, like we've come a long way.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's
So
like,
it's like-
it's insane that like that was in our lifetime practically. You know, like the 2 martini lunch and smoking indoors and driving home from McDonald's.
The coffee lunch.
Remember when you remember when people would just like throw their garbage out the window? And you know what?
People still do that though.
And you knew where they were done eating their McDonald's because it like on 224 where the old McDonald's was to where you made the left-hand turn by the Rod and Gun Club, the Lowville, you'd see it all littered with McDonald's. So it took literally approximately 1.5 miles to 2 miles to eat your Big Mac and your fries, and then it went out the window. And then
or your Barn Buster from Red Barn back in the day.
love Red Barn, man. We had to bring that back. Tell you what, if DOYO Live doesn't work out in 2 years, I'm going to launch Red Barn. Tell Joanna.
You just did.
Listen, thank you for dropping by today. It means everything in the world to us that you support, you show up, you like, you share, you comment. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Be safe and get your tickets to DOYO Live. And thank you to Purple Films. We're going to drop that video here in just a few minutes. Thank you, everybody.
Bye,
Take
everyone.
care.